Today's job market headlines include what we can expect from AI in 2026. And there's going to be lots of it, no surprise there. But first, ADP's National Employment Report for November was released this morning. And unfortunately, yet unsurprisingly, we lost jobs. Private sector employment fell by 32,000 jobs last month. And small businesses were hit the hardest by far. Just a really awful trend to see there. Small business employment declined by 120,000. Now, mid-sized employer jobs increased, which I did not expect. They went up by 51,000, and large employer hiring went up by 39,000. So I didn't expect to see any positive numbers at all. But truth be told, it is really no concession at all, given the gloomy situation that we're in with the job market right now. There were some highlights, if you will, for a couple of industries, specifically healthcare, in health services and education. They increased by 33,000 jobs. So that's always good to see. And that's a trend that all the data shows lately. Healthcare is going up. That is the place to be. If you are changing careers right now, definitely the direction that I would recommend going in. Also, leisure and hospitality added 13,000 jobs. So good for those industries, but mainly it was just bad news. Professional and business services declined, manufacturing declined, information declined, construction declined. So a lot more bad than good, but I'm trying to find wins wherever I can right now in the data. I'll continue to look for that wherever I can, but I really don't expect to report on anything positive until we get into next year and hopefully soon. But it's just not in the cards for right now. But there is some interesting news in AI. There's a lot of companies right now that are indicating that it's just not creating as much job displacement as others think it is, or at least will. Now, I'm of the camp that believes it's going to create a lot of job displacement, and I want to be wrong about that. But there was a survey that was conducted by Gartner that showing only 20% of those who participated are showing a reduction in headcount, specifically in customer service. So they surveyed a lot of customer service leaders, and only 1 out of 5 are saying that they've seen a reduction in headcount due to AI. Now, that is not what I would have expected. I thought it would have been more in that space, although given where we are in the evolution of AI, 1 out of 5 is still significant. And I do expect that trend will continue. But Gartner has a different take. Now, if you're not familiar with Gartner, they are an authority when it comes to what's happening in HR and what's happening in the IT space, what's happening in technology as a whole. And a lot of people will see what they predict as gospel, or at least something close to it. And I don't necessarily agree with their expectations. Once again, I hope they're right. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just not the sentiment that I know a lot of employers have. And that is that they're predicting that by 2027, half the companies that are currently planning major AI-driven workforce reductions will scrap those plans. They just say they're going to go back. And I think the opposite. I think AI is only going to increase speed. So this is a very different take. And Gartner, to their credit, has been consistent about that. They're seeing something that I'm not. And the reason that they believe that this trend will not continue, but will in fact reverse. I mean, half of companies that are planning big employee reductions are going to reverse their trajectory there. They think it's because things like agentless customer service is harder to deliver than you would expect. Now, my own experience with AI, as well as talking to lots of peers who own businesses, I'm in the staffing industry. Not only did my peers try to take advantage of AI technologies, all of our clients we're in the staffing industry, right? So our clients are trying to figure out, in many cases, how to do more with fewer workers, or how to create efficiencies through AI. They want to augment work, not necessarily just replace their workers. But I know that it's not perfect right now. there's lots of flaws. I mean, I'm testing a product right now as we speak, and I know it's not perfect. It is doing some things that I wish it didn't. But the product that I'm testing right now, I used a similar project or technology on a beta last year, and it is already light years ahead of what I was doing or trying to do 10 months ago. And so I just don't see where Gartner's coming from with this. I don't believe that companies are going to pull back. Yes, they're going to be frustrated along the way and have to go through taking some lumps and bumps and bruises along the way. But I see this as inevitable. And when you think of customer service in particular, yes, we may not want to outsource humans to AI if we're in the US, native English speakers, people who are advanced with their use of the language and their ability to communicate. Sure, AI is going to be hard to replace. But think about your customer service interactions today. How many of those are not a good experience because you're communicating with someone who's using broken English, who's clearly not a native English speaker? And when you look to replace that with AI, and that is a significant percentage of customer service today, it starts to make a whole lot more sense. And I would rather have an AI experience than one that was incredibly frustrating because the person on the other line just couldn't communicate. So we will see how that plays out over time. But Gartner says, nothing to worry about yet. It's not going to happen at scale. I think the opposite. Once again, I hope they're right. I hope I'm wrong. But let's change gears and talk about something else that's going on with AI agents in particular, according to DeepL. This is a big company. I'm not really familiar with them, but when I look at their scale, it's an AI organization, and you could argue that any company in the AI space is going to slant what they're saying towards being favorable to AI. That makes sense. But their research showed that new research that they just published today, in fact, shows that 69% of global executives expect AI agents to reshape business operations in 2026. So they're more along the lines that I'm coming from, where they do think it's going to be significant. And I don't know who these executives were that they pulled, but it was a big survey. I believe it was 5,000 people that they polled. So that's pretty large as these things go. And they're not just talking about simple automations. They're referring to effectively AI coworkers that can plan, execute, and manage tasks with minimal or no supervision. That's about as close to replacing work as you can get. So it's been constant for me. I mean, I look at this data every day. I look at every report that I can get my hands on that comes out, and from one to the next, it is so contradictory. You see something like Gartner saying, "Hey, companies are gonna pull back on their AI adoption," and then you see research like this that shows 7 out of 10 executives are saying it's literally going to reshape business operations in the year ahead. And we're not talking about far in the future. We're talking about in the immediate future. And so the executives in this survey said that AI agents are going to re-engineer workflows, streamline operations, and effectively free employees from repetitive tasks. And I love that. And I think everyone should love that. I mean, no one wants to do the same thing day after day. And if you can avoid that as a professional or anyone who gets paid to work, you should want to do that. You should embrace that, and then hopefully do something that's much more valuable and rewarding than just doing something that can quite literally be replaced by a dumb robot, right? Because even though it may seem intelligent, it's really just operating on code. So there's no great thought that's going on there, or any thought at all. So if AI can replace a repetitive task, we should all look to embrace that. And this research indicates that it will. And look, to me, that's just an indicator, one of many, that AI agents are moving from hype and beta stage to actual execution. Maybe Gartner's right. Maybe they'll pull back and realize it's not going to work. But there's no mistake there's no confusion for me about what companies intend to do. And they are absolutely preparing for these hybrid workforces where AI will handle the tasks you don't need a human to do, right? It can work around the clock. It never takes a day off. a lot of positives about that. And then let's rely on the humans for the things that AI can't do, right? Judgment and creativity, and then of course overseeing it. And so I truly believe, and I go on record almost every day with this. So if I'm wrong, there's not going to be any denying it, and I will embrace it because look, I'm a staffing company owner. So when jobs are being replaced for any reason, that's not a good thing for me professionally. And from a personal standpoint, I'm a father of four. I'm a citizen of this society, of the human race, and specifically in America, where if what I'm afraid is going to happen or has potential to happen actually does happen, it's going to be bad for all of us. So I don't like the thought of that at all. But regardless, the winners over the next few years, from an individual standpoint, will be those who are paying attention to what is happening, who embrace it, who adapt, and ultimately learn to leverage AI to make whatever it is you do more efficient, more effective, be better as a result of AI. Do not stick your head in the sand. That's the worst thing you can do right now. So that is it for today. Those are your headlines. The big one being, unfortunately, we lost jobs again, heading in the wrong direction for now. I'll keep hoping and looking for a turnaround. But before we go, here's your fun fact for today. And this isn't actually that fun, but it is a fact that full-time office workers in the US, so if you're going to the office every day, expect to spend approximately 235 hours per year commuting. How is that for a case to not work in the office every day? That equates to about 19 full work days. That is not good for anyone. I think we can all agree on that. Even if you do go in the office, and even if as a company you need your workers there, if your job requires it, man, effectively 19 days commuting, spending in a car, on a train, on a bus. That's not good. Don't like it for anyone. But there we all try to come up with a more positive, fun, air quote fact for tomorrow. But thank you for listening. I'm live today, so I've been winging it here. Hopefully, if you've gotten with me this far, thanks for listening. I would appreciate if you like, subscribe, share with anyone you think might be interested, and I'll be back and look forward to talking to you tomorrow.